All praise belongs to our Lord, the Lord of all worlds. May peace and blessings be upon Hazreti Muhammad, who was sent to guide humanity to the straight path. Human beings were not created without purpose. Every person has a mission, a test, and a journey in this life. The life of this world is actually nothing more than a short visit. No one will stay here forever. Everyone who is alive today will one day leave this world. Even though people know this reality, they often live as if they will never die. This is one of the greatest illusions of human life. A person can become so absorbed in the life of this world that they begin to forget the real life that awaits them. But the life of this world is like a shadow. It is long in the morning, shorter at noon, and disappears in the evening. Human life is similar. Childhood, youth, and adulthood pass quickly, and suddenly a person realizes that life has gone by. One day, people who were once young look in the mirror and see their hair turning white and their faces changing. These changes are actually silent reminders given to every human being. Time is passing, and every person is slowly approaching the end of their life. Most people think of death as something far away. They live as if death only happens to others. But death is much closer than we imagine. Many people left their homes healthy in the morning, but never returned in the evening. Many people made long plans about their future, yet they left this world before any of those plans came true. A person sometimes plans for the next year, sometimes for the next 10 years, and sometimes assumes they will live for a very long time. Yet no one even has a guarantee of the next minute. Hazreti Muhammad said, "Remember often the destroyer of pleasures, which is death." This hadith was reported by Tirmidhi and Nasai, and scholars have accepted it as authentic. This advice from the Prophet is actually a powerful reminder that awakens the human heart. When a person reflects on death, their excessive attachment to the world begins to weaken. The heart softens, arrogance fades, and a person starts to see their mistakes more clearly. No matter how strong a person thinks they are, the reality of death reminds them how powerless they truly are. A person who remembers death cannot easily commit dhulm. A person who remembers death cannot easily act unjustly. A person who remembers death becomes careful about hurting the hearts of others, because they know that one day they will stand before our Lord and be accountable for everything they did. When a person lives with this awareness, their behavior begins to change. They become more careful with their words. They try harder to purify their hearts. They begin to live their lives more consciously and responsibly. In the Quran, our Lord says, "Every soul shall taste death." This verse describes a truth that no human being can escape. Death is for everyone. It is for prophets, for kings, for the wealthy, and for the poor. No one is outside of this reality. Sometimes when a person passes by a graveyard, they understand this truth more deeply. People who once lived, spoke, laughed, and made plans are now lying beneath the earth. Think about it. Many people who are alive today did not exist a few years ago. And in a few years from now, many of those who are alive today will no longer be here. This is the unchanging reality of life. One day, Hazreti Ali was asked who a truly intelligent person is. He gave this meaningful answer. A truly intelligent person is the one who holds himself accountable and works for what comes after death. Real intelligence is not just thinking about the world. Real intelligence is living while remembering the afterlife. Because the life of this world is a temporary journey. A person stays here for a short time and then moves on to the real life. The true life begins after death. Great scholars have said that remembering death revives the heart. When a person reflects on death, their excessive love for the world begins to decrease. Their greed fades away. Their heart becomes calmer. Instead of competing with others for worldly things, a person begins to focus on correcting themselves. When a person remembers death, their heart softens. They understand how serious it is to hurt someone's heart. They realize how heavy the responsibility of injustice is. Because they know that our Lord is perfectly just and nothing will remain unanswered. Perhaps one of the most important questions a person should ask themselves is this: if today were the last day of our lives, would we be ready to stand before our Lord? This question can deeply shake the heart of a person, because most people live unprepared. They forget about death. They assume that their days will continue endlessly. But every passing day brings a person one step closer to the end. For this reason, great scholars advised people to hold themselves accountable every day. At the end of the day, a person should ask themselves questions like these: what did I do today that would please my Lord? What mistakes did I make today? If today had been my last day, would I be satisfied with the way I lived? When a person begins to think this way, their life starts to change. They become more attentive in their prayers. They become more careful about avoiding sins. They treat people with greater kindness, because they know that this world is a test, and one day this test will come to an end. We should never forget that death is not the end of existence. Death is actually the beginning of the real life. The grave is the door that closes the life of this world, but opens the life of the hereafter. That is why a wise person sees this world as the field of the afterlife. What a person plants in this world is what they will harvest in the next life. May our Lord make us among those who remember death and live their lives with this awareness. May He fill our hearts not with the love of the world, but with the consciousness of the hereafter. May He grant us a life full of goodness, a beautiful ending, and a life that earns His pleasure. Like the video and follow the channel.